me this beautiful evening as I share with you on the power of consistency, small steps, big results. All right. So once again, welcome to those of you who are joining me for the very first time. I am Leonie Tusse. I am your master life coach, and I work with secondary school students in helping them build clarity, consistency, and self-confidence. All right. Now today, um, I'm going to talk with you about, of course, consistency. And this is really simple and yet a very powerful and profound topic. Now, many of us who have matured and as we continue to live, we recognize that success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. All right. It takes time through building good habits, etc., so that you get to go through a process. As a matter of fact, when you're building consistency. So success doesn't happen overnight, whether it's for school, whether it's sports, whether it is in life, anything. As a matter of fact, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to build. It is these small things that we do on a daily basis that will help us create the big results that we're looking at. All right. Now, consistency really matters. Consistency matters in every aspect of our lives that we set a goal in particular. Now, let's look at why consistency matters. Consistency matters because it takes a lot of strength, determination to achieve your goal. Now, the thing is, let's look at this. Have you ever started something with a lot of energy and after a while you begin to struggle? You have challenges in keeping the momentum. Maybe it is studying, maybe it's exercising, or even reading. All right. Now, the thing about it with consistency, what it does, it builds habits, it strengthens us, it builds discipline. All right. And it leads to mastery of whatever we are practicing. So let's say, for instance, let's think of a student. Let's think of a student who studies for 30 minutes every single day. And let's say this is minimum based on their age. All right. We're thinking of a student who would study for 30 minutes every day. Now, let's compare that person with someone who actually just decides to cram just before examination. Who do you think would perform better? Is it the person or the student who would have studied for 30 minutes every day? Or would it be the child who would have crammed, all things being equal? All right, all things equal. Let me know in the comments, who do you think would have performed better? Now, consistency has to be built. All right. We have to build consistency when we are making changes. Now, for the change to really take effect, now, we would have spoken about consistent changes before and how to handle changes. Now, the thing about it, a part of being able to change means that we have to become consistent. So how do we build consistency? How do we commit to being consistent even when we don't want to? Well, one of the first things which we do, of course, we set a goal. We create a plan of action of what we want to do. Once we know what we're working towards, that's a great way to start. Now, once we know what we want to do, whether it's improve your grades, whether it's you want to exercise, whether you want to practice specifically in writing essays better, doing mathematical problems, you want to start small as well. You know what you're going to do and you set your goal, you want to start small at the same time. All right. The next thing you want to do, you want to create a routine. You want to set a time, put aside a time for your studies. You want to put aside a time for everything that you basically want to do until until that habit becomes automatic. So therefore, in other words, you're going to be setting triggers. All right. You're going to set your trigger. So for instance, let's say I enjoy reading. All right. So one of the things I would know, as soon as I'm done reading, I will exercise. Or you could have it the other way around. It depends on your preference. which way you want to do it so that you build that consistency. The next thing you want to make sure you do is, of course, and I've spoken about it on many occasions, you want to have somebody who is in your circle who will help keep you accountable for the things that you're doing. So you find a friend, you find a coach, you find your mom, your dad, yes, an older sibling. You want someone in your corner who is going to support you, who's going to hold you accountable. This is someone who you would trust to tell them, okay, I want to study for 30 minutes. Could you time me? Could you just call and check in with me to just make sure that I'm doing what I'm doing, what I'm saying that I'm doing, as a matter of fact. So you want to make sure that you stay accountable to yourself. The other thing you want to make sure and do at the same time is to focus on your progress, not perfection. All right. You want to focus on progress, not on perfection, because you want to make sure you keep going, even if some days you don't feel like it, or you don't get it right. All right. You keep going, even if some days are tough, because today was a tough day for me, but I'm going to keep going. All right. Today has been a tough day. And I know many of us, we've had tough days, we've had tough times, but, this is where you actually test your whole strength and you're really understanding why you are doing what you're doing. So you have to focus on doing the activity or the task that you plan, even when you don't want to do it. All right. And those are some of the things that you can do to help you build a consistency and stay focused, even when you don't want to do it. So let's go that again. You want to make sure you set your goals so you know exactly what you're going to do. You want to ensure that you start small. So for instance, if you're now building the habit of studying, you want to use the method of 10 minutes or 15 minutes you study, you take a 5 minutes break, and you increase that over time. The next thing you want to do, you want to set a trigger. All right. So you want to exercise and then read, or read and then exercise. You call that habit stacking. All right. I can't remember the name of the Atomic Habit. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but he speaks to that. When you have a habit already, whether it's you're exercising already in the morning, you want to attach a new habit to it, where you just do that one time. So for instance, after you brush your teeth, for instance, you will write one goal for the day. Something simple like that. And we call that habit stacking. All right. The next thing you want to do, you want to stay accountable. Make sure you have a good friend and family member, your coach there with you to check in, to make sure that you're doing what you said you're going to do. The next thing, just recapping a little bit, and thank you for joining me. For those of you who are on for the very first time, I am Leonie Tousse. I'm a life coach, and I work with secondary school students and their parents to help them build consistency, confidence, and gain clarity. All right. And we are dealing with the power of consistency tonight. Small steps, big results. All right. And I just recapped how to stay consistent. Now, there's something else I want to talk about besides these activities, and this will help you to really understand how we build the consistency, even with the steps that I'm just sharing here with you. Now, the thing is, there's a science behind consistency. There's a science behind consistency. There's a way how habits shape your future. So one of the things you would notice, and if you sit and you think about it, all right, there are activities that you would have done as a child, and because you did it over and over, you were able to accomplish it. The same thing holds true. Here's what happens. Your brain, all right, it builds what you call neural paths through repetition. All right, let me say that again. Our brain, it builds neural pathways through repetition. So the more you do something, the easier it becomes. Do you agree with me? The more you do something, the easier it becomes. Whether it's tying your shoelace, whether it's writing an essay, whether it's doing a math problem, what we find is through repetition, we actually find that whatever we are doing, it becomes easier. So for instance, riding a bicycle. All right. At first, it would have been difficult. You can't keep your balance. And this is why we had the training wheels on the bicycle. Our parents would be holding the bicycle behind us. So then we build that, we get to get steady. But when we start to build that repetition and we understand and we know the feel of the bicycle, we say, okay, mommy or dad, let's take off the balance wheel. And when you take off that balance wheel, you recognize that here's what, I can do this now. But after consistent practice, this is when it becomes second nature to us. So this is why you want to keep repeating, even if you falter, even if there is a day or a time you just don't feel like doing it. One of the things you want to remember is your why. So then even if you don't feel like doing it, you don't feel motivated, you're still going to do it because your why that you would have identified when you were setting that goal is what is keeping you going. That is what's going to help keep you going strong. All right. Now, I want you to remember. All right. And thank you so much for joining. Feel free to put a comment in the chat saying where you're coming from. Thanks so much for joining me. All right. And let me say this. Consistency is our secret weapon, I should say, to success. Consistency is a secret weapon to success. So we take small steps daily, and that will take you further than a burst of effort. Remember to take small steps daily, and that will take you further than a burst of effort. Keep going, and you'll be amazed at where you would end up. Just continue to be consistent. Remember your why. Remember the tips. Remember when you feel that you can't do it, you say, I know I can because I am great. I am awesome. I haven't learned to do a skill yet. Remember those affirmations. So remember how you speak to yourself also has an impact on how consistent you are. All right, so keep going. Again, you'll be amazed at how far you get. And if you need any guidance, in creating a consistent routine, let's connect. All right, so feel free to connect with me, and I will see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow, where we're going to be looking at, if I remember correctly, breaking free from our comfort zone, the path to growth. Yes, so thank you once again for joining me tonight. I am Leonie Stousset, and I'm always delighted to see you. I work with secondary school students to build confidence, consistency, and clarity. So have a beautiful time. I'm going to see you soon. Bye for now.